Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who does not respect fashion etiquette. Blue hat, black shirt, fuck you. And I'm here to talk about the main event for the upcoming fight night, Derrick Lewis versus Jailton Alameda. Derrick is stepping in on short notice, credit to him. And credit to him for going 100 miles over the speed limit the other day. Although he said that it wasn't him. But either way, this is a tough matchup. Jailton Alameda, full camp, half camp, whatever. He's a tough matchup. He's a guy that reduces most of his UFC opponents to the striker in a striker versus grappler match. And that is certainly what this fight is. Derrick Lewis, if he wins, it is by knockout and nothing else, I'd say. And Jailton Alameda, if he wins this fight, it is on the ground, whether it's by TKO or submission. Jailton, he's so good on the ground and such a potent finisher. I'm fucking exhausted. 19 wins. He's got 19 finishes, 7 by TKO, 12 by submission. We've seen enough of it in the UFC. He can go either way, TKO or submission, but it's coming on the ground, the full mount, the back mount. He's a problem. And I should mention he's got 2 losses. One of them is by knockout in 16 seconds. He was knocked out by this guy, Thiago Moreira, I believe. And the other loss is a decision to Bruno Assis. But Jailton, that's his only vulnerability, the fact that he was knocked out. I mean, in this fight here, that is it. If Derrick Lewis doesn't land the kill shot, I expect Jailton to be good enough to get him to the ground. Jailton is strong. I can't say he's that big because he's a former light heavyweight, but he's strong and agile and very, very quick. I think he'll have no trouble getting in on Derrick Lewis. He's probably going to have to weather a flying knee or a fucking switch kick or whatever. But once they settle into rhythm, Jailton's just going to be the faster guy, and I expect him to strike his way into a takedown pretty quickly. Derrick Lewis, if he defends that takedown, it would be awesome. But I think he's not going to be able to, and he's going to be caught grappling in the first round pretty quickly. Derrick Lewis is a guy, though, who I've always said is deceptively tough to finish on the ground. I can't say he's good on the ground because he is not good. He's bad everywhere, certainly off his back. On top of someone, he's actually not bad. He's one of those guys like Rampage Jackson, where he's tough to put away on the ground and has deceptively good offensive grappling, good passing and ground and pound, but he's just not a good fighter on the ground. And I think he's been able to get by, instead of being one of those guys that works to half guard and to reclaim his guard and go in that route. He lets his opponent advance on him and he bucks his way out of a full mount. Because Derrick Lewis is a big, as big as a heavyweight gets, and when he gets all of his weight underneath his opponent's hips, he can probably buck most guys. But some guys are just that strong and that good on top. The 2 guys that put him away on the ground are his 2 submission losses, Sergey Spivak and Daniel Cormier. And while Jailton Alameda is a smaller guy, as was Cormier. I mean, Cormier was a light heavyweight as well. But Jailton Alameda, he's definitely more refined with jiu-jitsu overall, where if he wins that wrestling battle, the jiu-jitsu battle is going to be, it's over. Yeah, by the time it hits the mat. So, I think Derrick Lewis, if Jailton gets on top of him, he's going to advance. And I think when Derrick Lewis goes to power out of things, it's not going to be there for him against a guy like Jailton Alameda, as opposed to when he was fighting fucking Ruan Potts or whatever. With Derrick Lewis, he's been mounted in plenty of his fights. Of course, he was a younger man then, in his early 30s. But despite having those great traits where he's always been deceptively tough to put away and deceptively good on the on top, advancing, even deep into round 4 against Shamil Abdurakhimov, got him out of there in the full mount in a dreadful fight. He's, despite all of that, he's not good on the ground, and I think this fight is going to be fought on the ground. So I'm picking Jailton Alameda to get Derrick Lewis out of there. I think it's going to happen relatively early. I'd say round 1, but even if it doesn't, I think Jailton Almeida, he's still going to control him and eventually put him away. Again, only 2 guys have done it. Sergey Spivak, the arm triangle. Daniel Cormier, the rear naked choke. I was there for that fight. But Jailton Almeida, I think he just got such good control where it could come either way. It could be an arm triangle choke or it could be ground and pound from a horrible position. But I'm taking Jailton. I should have stuck with his real name there. Jailton, and I'm not betting on him. Round 1 flat finish is minus 105. That'd have to be plus money to really entice me. I'm just staying away from this. The under is minus 345 or under a round and a half. Not touching that either, because again, Derrick Lewis, historically, he's been tough to put away. But he's only getting older, only getting slower, and against a younger, definitely quicker and more agile heavyweight now with incredible top control. I think this is going to be another fight in which Derrick Lewis succumbs on the ground. So that's the pick. Jailton Almeida from the full mount to the back mount, TKO or submission. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.